Welcome. I am really glad that you are here. I am Laureen Quick, and I work with women over 50 who find themselves sensing a quiet restlessness, not dissatisfaction exactly, but a feeling that something inside them wants movement, expansion, or just a wider view. This conversation is part of the Next Chapter Summit, a gathering this January for women navigating change, going through reinvention and renewal. And it's a space that honors many pathways to renewal, including ones that come through perspective, curiosity, and stepping beyond what's familiar. So many women in midlife have spent years being responsible, years being reliable, years being needed. Over time, that has gently narrowed our own sense of responsibility, not because we lack the desire or the courage, but because, we've always learned, we've taught ourselves to put ourselves second.
Yeah.
That is why I'm really glad that we are joined today by Sandy Colling. Sandy she works in the world of travel, and she invites women to experience renewal through intentional travel, not as an escape, not as an indulgence, but really as a practice of remembering. She helps women reconnect with their curiosity, with their vitality, and also their self trust. Often we lose those things in the lives that we have lived. We've lost those things in the lives that we have lived, and this is an opportunity through travel to gain all that back. What you are about to hear is not a travel guide, nor is it a preview of Sandy's conversation at the summit. It is a conversation today to open, to expand, and to connect with our humanity, our humanness, and have a glimpse into the kind of conversations that we will be having at the Next Chapter Summit later this January. So, Sandy, I am so glad you are here. Let's begin. My first question to you is many women over 50 really do feel this subtle restlessness. Again, it's not dissatisfaction, but we have the sense that something wants movement, something wants to expand. When a woman comes to you with that kind of a feeling, what do you notice, and how often do they have that longing before they travel?
So, first of all, thank you so much for having me here as a guest. And I love your question because it's so true, that restlessness. And I've felt it myself, even though I've traveled all my life. It's, life's good. It's not like something's wrong, right? It's not like something is missing or, everything is like falling apart. But the restlessness is because a lot of women, like you mentioned, they've been the partner, they've been the chauffeur, they've been the cook. They've worn all the hats. And I feel like a lot of women, they they say my life feels good, but it feels flat. I'm stuck. And I can relate to that feeling. So what they're looking for is movement. And like you mentioned, it's not escape, but it's looking for a change of something out of what they've done. And I just recently talked to a woman who really wanted to, or really had that longing and that antsiness. And she said, I don't know what it is. And I said to her, have you done a lot of travel? And she said, no. And so that kind of prompted that. A lot of women don't even know that that's what it is. And it doesn't have to be the answer, but I feel like oftentimes travel really gets that, oh, and that excitement. And then again, they're not escaping anything. They just want something new that they can connect to themselves and explore the world or explore another area, another culture, another tradition, whatever it is, even within this country. It doesn't have to be, halfway across the world, but it gives them a new perspective, basically. And so that's what I hear a lot, actually.
And I think it's really important to recognize that this is a legitimate feeling because a lot of times we think, oh, like my life is great. Why should I complain? I have it all. So
Mm.
why do I have this restlessness? Why aren't I happy? And the reality is there is just one more piece. There is something else that is seeking fulfillment through this movement. And like you said, it can be done through travel. Uh,
Absolutely.
but it needs to
Absolutely.
be acknowledged and don't feel like you can't have it because it's just what we have. It's who we are.
And for me, and I can only speak for myself, but when I'm stagnant, and when I say stagnant is in the same place for a while, I
Mhm.
do get incredibly restless. And I'm like, okay, time to go explore. And it can look different for other people, but if you haven't, or if, the audience hasn't tried maybe jumping on a plane or jumping on a train or jumping in a car, that may be the answer because it really it just ignites an excitement and just something so wonderful in my opinion.
Well, I'm an avid traveler. I love to travel and it just hits the spot just right in my humble opinion. Because it just does. It's an incredible experience to travel and to see yourself and to see the world in different ways.
Exactly.
You've seen how years of responsibility can shrink a woman, shrink her
Mhm.
sense of possibility, what she thinks she's capable of. When women travel, do you see shifts in those women as they travel to become more confident and also maybe even expand who they are through this process?
100%. My message in my travel, although I'm a travel advisor and all the things, but my messaging is really transformation through travel.
Okay.
And I see a lot of shifts. I see women that I suggest to maybe you want to go to, X, Y, and Z, and they're like, is this even realistic? Would I enjoy it? And then, I nudge, and I'm not in the business of convincing, but the shift, the mindset shift, the awareness becomes massive. Especially for women that haven't done that much travel. I had a lady come to Ireland with me who had never been outside of the United States. She is 71 or was 71 at the time, and she was like blown away. Even though it was Ireland, it was the same language, but the different culture and everything. And she said she never expected, because it was a horseback riding trip, and she wanted a ride and she thought that's all it was going to be, but just navigating through all the things that you haven't done, starting with security, starting through passport control, starting through all the little things, aside from the new culture and the new foods and the people and the openness and the difference. Absolutely, the shift can be massive, absolutely massive. And so I love that. And then a sense of possibility becomes awakened. And yeah,
Without sharing what you're going to cover exactly in our summit conversation, what feels the most important for women to understand about renewal as a stage in life, and especially as they have put themselves always second, or in some cases last on the list.
that's a great question. So, renewal, not in a sense of reinvention, right?
Right.
But in giving yourself permission to come back to yourself,
Yep.
to trust again, to trust in yourself again. Because I think a lot of that gets lost because we're so on autopilot oftentimes with all the hats that we're wearing. And given ourselves permission, or given to like, okay, I'm whatever X, Y, and Z, but I don't need to reinvent myself, but I can get a refreshed sense of what's happening.
Well, and here's the thing I think that's fascinating to me about travel too is that when you step onto a plane and eventually step off that plane into a new world, there is very little that knows who you are. There is,
Absolutely.
right? So you don't carry with you off the plane all those constraints, all those rules, all those limitations that your mind holds you back from or to or whatever. Um, so I think travel is the best place to try out who you really are
Well,
without,
reconnect to yourself.
well,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah.
And the expectations aren't there either. We have all these, even if they're self-inflict or put on ourselves
Yeah.
expectations. But we oftentimes are so hard on ourselves as women, right? We have to do this, we have to do this. And when you're completely away, Tapetenwechsel. The German have a great expression when they have a Tapetenwechsel, which the literal translation is a change of wallpaper. So it
Yeah.
changes scenery, but the wallpaper, because it really depicts the four wall, we can breathe and there's no judgment. And because oftentimes I feel like women they just feel like, and I can only speak for myself, but all the expectations that we put on ourselves, but we also, even if it's not true, think other people have of ourselves. And when you're completely, like you said, off the plane, you can just be you, authentically self. And
Mhm.
it's difficult for a lot of people, especially if they've been in careers, women, for a long, long time.
To me, this is the essence of renewal in many, many ways around the whole idea that I can fully be me.
Yeah,
Without those constraints and expectations that other people have of me, and
right.
feel what that feels like, which is, and this is what I experience when I travel, really a great deal of freedom to
Yeah,
just be and do who I am versus
right.
all that other stuff that I left behind me when I got on that plane.
It's true though. It's so true. It's so, so true.
Mhm. And so, if there's a woman listening today who feels the call towards something more, but keeps postponing it out of fear or guilt or that great practicality that we all like to live with, what would you gently want her to know right now, Sandy?
And I asked myself that question the other day, actually. Allowing ourselves to have another experience. We deserve we deserve it. Because like I said earlier, we wear all these hats and we're in all these roles. And I feel like there's a time you deserve it. You deserve to take care of yourself, to explore the world, to to leap into something new and allow ourselves to be open, to be open and to be open to a transformation. And I feel like a lot of people, because again, all the hats, stepping out of that comfort zone, which can be huge for people, like this lady that came, there was a lot of like, I don't want to go as far as saying fear, but hesitation and uncertainty and questions and all the things. And even though I answered everything, but once she got off the plane, whew, allowing herself to actually like really explore the world. You are worth it. You deserve it. You are worth it. And we don't know. We honestly don't know if we'll even still be on this planet tomorrow. And so I I don't hold back. I don't I just go
Yep.
because we just don't know. It's life is so uncertain. And the certainty you're going to get is you're not going to hate it. Promise you that.
I always, no, you're not. I would say that as a promise as well. I would just say, as I've gotten older, I just remind myself regularly, you do not have a minute to waste, not a
No,
minute to
no.
waste. You should be fulfilling every dream, every desire you have ever had in your life, because, like you said, who knows how long we've got. Let's take advantage of every single moment.
Well, a good example is, I mean, me slipping on the ice the other day and cracking my head on the concrete.
Mhm.
I mean, seriously, it could have gone completely the other way. That's why you deserve it. Go explore and,
And
never take anything for
now,
granted.
Do it now.
Now.
Yep, now.
Right. Yeah.
All right, before we close, I do want to offer this to those of you watching. If this conversation has stirred a sense of restlessness, a curiosity, or a longing not to escape your life anymore, but rather to experience yourself more fully within it, that's the kind of renewal that we are exploring throughout the Next Chapter Summit. This gathering is for women who are ready, I mean, ready to widen their view, to trust the call that they are being called to something more, and to remember that renewal doesn't always come from stopping, sitting and looking at our navel, but rather sometimes it comes from moving and from imagining and from choosing differently. You will find in the notes to this conversation links to the summit and all the information you need to consider whether it's for you. Please check that out and register if you would like. Sandy, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. I love the way that you encourage women to step back into their curiosity, their courage, and their aliveness. I am so grateful that you are going to be a part of this summit. And to everyone listening, if something in you is ready for a wider horizon, you are warmly invited to join us, my friends. Thank you for listening.